I'm back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We were out last week. It is what it is. But we're back this week. My friend was he was kind of making fun of me. So I sent him a picture on Snapchat of my cat in her heated blanket this weekend. I bought my cat a heated blanket just for herself. I get too hot, so I never use it. So it's literally just for my cat. Because I felt bad. Like last week because I like it cold. I live in Ohio, so it's like chilly-ish right now. So I'll like keep my windows open all night. And then like by the time I wake up, it's usually between like 58, 59 to like 63 or so, depending on the day. So I was like, I feel bad, because kitty cats like it hot. They like the heat. So it was like, I'm going to buy you your very own heated blanket. That is not it. It's on my couch. She loves it. She loves it. And my friend was making fun of me. He's like, you spoil your cat. Oh my gosh, it has a coat. I was like, I get she has a coat, but she likes it nice and warm, and she's snuggling. It's my little baby. She turned 6 in like 10 fucking days. What the fuck today? Like 8 days. In like a week. 6. I had her since she was just a teeny little baby. So yes, I spoil my pets. I spoil my dog as well. So I just think that you should spoil those you love. It makes them happy, makes me happy. Yeah, who the fuck cares? Live your life. I was at work today. I have a job, and I work at an energy company, and I was like 10 minutes on the phone arguing with this guy because he wanted a better rate than the one that he was getting, and even though it's a great rate anyway, but he wanted a different one that was we arguing back and forth, and I finally figured out why he was pissed off. He wasn't pissed off that he's not getting as great of a rate as some others that live around him, but he was pissed at his name, and I can understand why. His name is Brandon, and if you're listening, fuck you. His name is Brandon. 2 A's. Fucking B-R-A-D-A-N. Brandon. Like, the fuck? I'm like, how are you trying to... I went in our work chat, and it was like, this guy was arguing with me for over 10 minutes, and his name is Brandon. 2 A's. Dumbass motherfucker. You're dead. Like, that's why you're pissed off. I would be too. Brandon. Man. Brandon with 2 A's. Shit. And he spelled that out for me. And he didn't laugh when he spelled it out to me. And is it like a Brandon? Like a typical Brandon, you don't have to spell that out. And, or, sometimes depending where you're going. But most of the time you don't have to spell it. People know how to spell Brandon. There's one way. There's multiple, but there's one right way. And like if you're a Brandon with an I-N, or a Y-N, I mean. Oh, there's probably Brandon with an I-N. Oh my God. I was friends with this one girl once, and her brother's name is Jathan. Jathan. It's like you're saying Jason, right? It's like the mom or the dad had a lisp, and they were like, oh, what do you, nurse comes in, oh, what do you want to name your kid? Jathan, right? And they meant Jason, but they have a fucking lisp, Jathan. They're like, what? Jathan? Yeah, okay. And then now he's fucked up for the rest of his life. Fucking Jathan. But you can change your name. It's a lot of work. You got credit cards, debit cards, birth certificates, social security. It's a fucking hassle. So he's basically stuck with Jathan. Brandon, stuck with Brandon. I would be pissed off all the time too. If those were my names, oh, Jathan, why are you pissed off? We know why he's pissed off. He knows why he's pissed off. He lives his life pissed off. Because you meet people. You meet people and you're like, oh, your name is Cindy. Oh, I'm Jathan. Say again, and you have to be like, I don't have a lisp. Daddy did or mama did, but I don't. My name is just fucked up. And they like, how do you like, you look at that, right? Jathan, you say it in your head, Jathan, you say it out loud, Jathan. It just sounds fucking dumb, right? Even if you have a lisp, it sounds dumb. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that is a good reason, right? If you see that Brandan or Jathan was like shooting up a fucking, that's too soon. If they're going on, a mass murder spree of something, and you read their name some people read the paper, or watch the news, or read the news wherever you fucking get it. All right, online, print, video. But then we like Jathan Smith. I don't care. Here's his mugshot. There's his name. That's all I need to know. Whatever else happened after that caused him to be in this situation happened because of his name. Like if Jeffrey Dahmer, think of it. If Jeffrey Dahmer, if his name was Jeffrey Dahmer, he would have killed, guaranteed, 200% more people. And that's just facts. You can't argue science. That is fact. He would have killed 200% more people than he did. He would have ate 300% more. Now you do that math. Facts. Spitting facts. Damn. People got some fucked up names. I worked at a daycare one summer in 2017. Terrible. I don't drink alcohol. I don't. So working at a daycare, you need to. You need to partake in alcoholism. You gotta partake in it. Part of the ritual. But I don't drink. I hate the taste of alcohol, right? Like my drink of choice at a bar is a Jack and Coke. Hold the Jack, right? So I worked at a daycare. UDF, if you know what they are, it's a gas station chain. Fucking great ass milkshakes. Best milkshakes I've ever put in this gullet, right? So every day I worked 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. Every day after work, because I don't partake in alcoholism, I partake in, I love milkshakeisms, right? So every day after work, this is like 2 doors down, drive my car, park it in the spot if I didn't need gas that day. And I'd go in and get a fucking milkshake. And every day, 5 days a week, and this is during the summer. So when in the summer, they have a promo of, buy 5, malts or milkshakes, and you get 50 cents off a gallon of gas. So I'm just racking the 50 cents up. I'm just racking the shit up. And I'd go in and I would, every day, Monday to Friday, I'd order a giant chocolate milkshake every day, which is, I think, is 32 ounces. I think it's a decent amount of milkshakeness, fucking love it. And, every day, and I had a 20-minute drive home. That shit was gone before I got home. It was gone about like 10 to 12 minutes. Oh, worked at a daycare. I think I talked about my working at a daycare before. Shit. Oh man, worked at a daycare. I can't believe that they hired me. I'm a good, upstanding citizen. Yada, yada, yada. I can't believe they hired me. It's funny, like, seeing the differences. I feel like I talked about this before, but it's funny to, like, see the differences in people's faces and, like, their reactions from, somebody that I don't really know or I may have just met, and I bring that up, I worked at daycare, and their reaction is always like, oh my gosh, that's cool. How did you like it? And I tell them the story. But, there's another story, but the people that do know me, and we've been friends for a while, they always have this shocked look on their face, like, who the fuck hired you? Mm-hmm. Welcome to the fucking club. Welcome to the club. I thought I liked kids. I thought I wanted to maybe have some kids one day. And my throat is burning. And, I thought maybe one day I would want to have kids, or, maybe one day I don't know. I just thought I enjoyed the children. So I got a job at a daycare, because what better place? I couldn't think of one, right? I was looking for a summer job. I was going to be in town in Columbus at the time for the summer before I went back to school. And actually, I didn't go back. I ended up dropping out at that point. Another story. It's a darker story. Anyway, I was like, what better place, right? Like, what better place? You like children, you enjoy the atmosphere of the children, right? Not in a creepy way, but you think you've met people's kids, right? Or siblings, or fucking nieces and nephews, and you think that you got this down, right? It's not that hard, right? As long as they are alive and have as many limbs going out as they did coming in, that's all we can ask for. Mm-mm. No. I think I was a weekend. I think it took me a solid week, because they didn't let me be alone. So this is kind of a fucked up place this was, now that I think back at it. I would never send my kids there. But I remember for like the first 5 to 6 days, I was not allowed to be left alone with the children. And that was because the first day I went, right, they had me do this on my first day, right? I come in, I report to work, and they're like, hey, here's this address. It was about 5-10 minutes down the road. They were like, that's where you go to get your fingerprinting for them to do a background check, because that was not done before you start. I feel like it should be. Okay. Feel like it should be. But it wasn't. Right? They had me do that on my first day. And then they had me come back, because it's a 2-minute process, right? Thumbs, fingers, and you're done, right? And then they just search your background. And then you have to fill like a super fast paper or whatever. It takes a couple minutes. Drive back. And then, my boss, she a real bitch. I didn't know at first. And found out though. And, she's like, oh, hey, you're going to be in this classroom, and, you're going to shout at this teacher, which her name was Lexi. She was very hot. Now she's pregnant now. That's why I don't think I can get married to have kids, because as soon as somebody has kids, right? If I know them when, during, before, during, and after they're pregnant, I am no longer attracted to them. I physically cannot. I don't know. And people are like, oh, if you have a family of your own, it would be different. Bitch, I don't think so. It just repulses me. I don't know. Different story, different day. But that's who I was shadowing. And I was shadowing her most of the week. And I was like, she makes it look easy. Wasn't easy. So about after 6 to 7 days, maybe not even that much, my background check came back. And of course, we were good to go. I am not a known criminal. Known. And, so I'm with the school-aged children. So I think like 8 or 9 to like 12 or 13. I thought out of all of the ages, I felt like that those age groups would have been easier to manage, easier to work with. No, they weren't. They weren't. They weren't. Oh my God, they weren't. Oh. It was oh my God. I worked there a summer. It was the worst summer of my fucking life. Oh my God. I could not have waited to go and leave. Oh, I was so excited my last day. Oh my God. But that's where I learned my hatred, dislike, disdainness of the children of I just couldn't. I couldn't. It was unlike what oh my, it was just so fucking stressful. You had, between 15 and 25 kids. It was just, I got in trouble one day from my boss. I got pulled into her office. I'm like, I'm going to the principal's office. I didn't give two fucks about what I did, right? Because it wasn't too terrible. I know that. So I walk into her office, first thing coming in the morning, and I was probably running late anyway. And she's like, hey, come in here, I want to talk to you. Well, whatever. So she's like, hey, what happened between blah, blah, blah yesterday? What do you mean? What the fuck? What do you mean? Nothing, as far as I know. So so this one boy threw a fucking Tic Tac, a regular sized white Tic Tac, at this other girl. Probably was flirting, but she went and complained. Didn't tell me a goddamn thing. I wouldn't have done anything anyway. Don't throw Tic Tacs. What the fuck? But she went and told the director of the place. And then she pulled me in her office that morning and she's like, hey, so-and-so threw a Tic Tac at so-and-so. And they were across the fucking room. And I had over 20 kids in that room. And these two were all the way across the room. And she's like, you need to see everything that's happening. You should have saw that. I should have saw that. A fucking you dumb fucking bitch. I didn't like her. We didn't get along. We didn't get along because I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't try, like, if I don't get along with you, we don't get along. I'll be professional about it, but I'm not going to be fake to your face, right? Because I don't want to, if somebody doesn't like me, I wouldn't want them to act like they like me. Just be like, hey, be cordial and be professional, but we don't have to like each other. And I didn't like her. She's wanting too much. I'm like, you don't pay me that much to do all that. Girl. So, I wasn't doing that. So, it was just not the first time I was pulled into her office, though. I was somehow always doing something pissing her off. I don't fucking care. The last day, just as a fuck you, I called off that day. Because they were always understaffed. Understaffed to fucking hell. And I always got the brunt end of it. I was watching 25 kids, sometimes a couple more, sometimes a couple less, but generally around 25 every day. Which, in Ohio, I forget the fucking law is now, but it's illegal in Ohio. You're supposed to have, at that age group, I think was between, 15 or 16, something around 15 or 16 kids per adult. We were well over that. So if they got, if somebody came in and did a random inspection, they would have gotten in a lot of trouble. So, yeah, that was my entire summer, just getting the brunt force of it and just shoving everybody on me. It was just fucking terrible place. So, Yeah. As a final fuck you, I just was like, fuck you. I'm not coming into work today. Not coming in. Fuck you. And then I just ignored all the texts and emails after that. So I'm like, you guys are all assholes. This is a shitty fucking place. Should be shut the fuck down. But yeah, would never have sent, like if I ever accidentally had a kid, would never have sent them to a daycare. Never. If I ever accidentally had a kid, it'd be terrible. I don't think the world can handle more of me. I don't know. I've been watching Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix recently. I feel like it's pretty good. I like it. And I watched, there's one lawyer guy, I forget what his name is, but I watch him on YouTube. And he'll do different, he's a defense lawyer, and he'll do different videos on, defendants' outbursts in court or different videos on, different cases and high profile stuff a lot of the time. And where the fuck was I at with that? Oh yeah. He did a video recently on the Jeffrey Dahmer series. And he kind of went into it and kind of was like, oh, I can understand why people are, fascinated with it. And then, he talked more so about the bad things about the series, how it can bring up, different feelings for, the victims and the victims' families and things like that. And I can see that. I can. But I also can see, because true crime right now is so fucking popular. We can't get enough of it. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think, he touched on, especially the one woman in court, I think was the mother of one of the victims. And then she's very, very upset and very dramatized. And they did that almost as an exact, replication in the Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix that the mother did in court, like dressed the same. And he was talking about how, that's not necessarily a good thing to, dramatize that and bring that back up. But I also see, the want for that. And I don't think it's a bad thing to portray that. To bring it to a newer audience that hasn't, because even like me, I'm 27 and I haven't really looked into, because I follow Court TV on YouTube as well, and they've been posting a lot of very long snippets of the actual Jeffrey Dahmer trial. And when I first saw the first one, it was like, I think it was 92 or something when the trial happened. And I was like, honestly wasn't that long ago. Like whenever I think of Jeffrey Dahmer, I think of, maybe the 70s or the 80s, but I don't think of him being on trial and this all being public in 92. So I feel like it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think you should, when you're doing dramatizations and, putting this back out there and making it your own at the same time as trying to make it as factual as possible while trying to keep the attention of people, because you can easily make that, note a little dramatizations and 100% fact and put that shit on the History Channel with that boring ass voice and you're asleep after like 20 minutes. That doesn't keep anybody's attention, right? I think keeping some leeway, but also keeping it, as to the facts of the case and how things actually happened. as close as possible to it. I think makes it entertaining and brings it to a newer audience. People that are, a lot younger than I am, and a lot of people are that haven't heard about the case or heard little about it. I think this would, I think it also brings to light the inadequacies of the police departments involved, because it's shown in the show as well as what happened in real life, where a lot of these instances were reported and a lot of calls were made, but nobody took it seriously, arguably because he was a white man. But a lot of people noticed it. A lot of other people should have noticed it. And nothing was done, and this was allowed to happen. And then the one that is in the show prominently, first or second episode, or first few episodes at least, where he was in his apartment and he had drugged this one, I think it was a guy, but I think he was underage. I think he was like 13 or 14, I think, maybe even 12. But he was a really young guy, really young kid. And, Jeffrey Dahmer picked him up, I think in the show, was at a gas station. I don't know if that's really where it happened. But picked him up and he took him back to his place. And I don't know what the original plan was, at least in the kid's mind. But Jeffrey Dahmer ended up drugging him, and the guy was able to escape the apartment, and he went outside. He was able to go outside, and then he kind of sort of passed out on the stoop or on the sidewalk there right outside the building. And the neighbors, one of the neighbors, I forget her name, but she was prominently in that episode, where she called, in real life, she called the cops and said, hey, this is what's going on, we need somebody out here. All right, so they sent a couple of cops out, and in the show and in real life happened the same way. So the kid, he was passed out, he wasn't all there, he wasn't able to talk, he wasn't able to say how old he wasn't able to say his name. And Jeffrey Dahmer did all the talking, and he said, oh, he's 19, he's my boyfriend, he had a little too much to drink, yada, trying to talk his way out of it. And the neighbors were like, no, this isn't right. There's something wrong with this, right? Like, you need to get the other guy's ID, you need to, figure out who that is. And the cops didn't do anything. He's like, all right. He's like, go get your boyfriend and go back inside. And he did. And the kid died. He killed the kid that night. And it's just crazy. And I think that is also, not necessarily a bad thing that they are bringing up in the show. I think it's still a lot of the same issues, definitely a lot of the same issues that we're still seeing now with cops that were happening back then. The only difference now is it's being filmed, it's being recorded. People are, able to see really what the fuck is going on and try and hold them accountable. And, how that may have been different if he was black, how those interactions would have changed if he was black, if he wasn't white, right? What would have happened? So I think it would have been in a different, I don't think, maybe nobody even ever heard of Jeffrey Dahmer because he killed one person and he just got charged with that one murder because he was black, and they caught on quicker, you know. And I think that's a good thing to, definitely not a bad thing to talk about, and how that's different, or could be different, you know. So I think that brings up a lot of good questions, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's how you portray it, because I would say, on the other hand, with the true crime, The Staircase, but not the one on Netflix, the actual documentary, the one on HBO Max that came out August, I think of this year, August of 22, where they had a crazy amount of access. Like, the documentarian from the Netflix version, the actual documentary, gave the crew of the HBO show, The Staircase, unfettered access to anything that they wanted, all of the documents, any video. They gave them everything, right? And they had a promise of, you know, we'll make this, you know, we'll over dramatize this, we won't, you know, lie about different things. And, you know, they got all that access. And in turn, they just had a big fuck you to the documentarians and, you know, to Michael himself and the family. You know, in the show, I just stopped watching a few episodes in, like 3 or 4 episodes in. I didn't make it the full series because I was like, this is a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. Like, if you watch the documentary, you can just be like, okay, that didn't happen, this didn't happen then, that didn't happen then. It just a bullshit, just spewed throughout it, just lie. It was disgusting, right? I think that's a disservice to everybody involved. You know, so there are bad ways, harmful ways to do it, and I don't think the Netflix version of Jeffrey Dahmer does that. I think it does it in a very, like, it handles the issues well. I don't think they over dramatize the issues. So I think, you know, what the Netflix Jeffrey Dahmer show is doing, I think it's good. It's an interesting watch, and I don't think it does it in a harmful way. So I disagree with my YouTube guy, my YouTube defense lawyer. You know, I don't think it's a bad thing. It can be, you know, HBO Max Staircase. You know, I mean, just, ugh. That shit was a fucking joke. That was a shit. Like, you had all of the documents that the documentarians had. You had all of the videos that people have seen and people haven't seen. You had access to everything. And then you still made something, like, as fake as you could be. I think with the HBO Max series, this is my thought. I don't know if that's what the goal they were going for or not, but I think what they were trying to do is not come to a conclusion, right? I think they were leaving everything open to interpretation, right? You know, some people are going to think that Michael did kill his wife, and I'm gonna, you know, and I think other people, you know, could watch that and be like, I don't think he killed her, and I don't think he did. You know, and I think that's how the show, that's how I feel like they were trying to do it, where they were trying not to tell the audience how to feel, and they weren't making decisions for anybody, but they were saying, here, there's 2 sides to this. Either he did it or he didn't do it. Here are the 2 sides, and they fail. If that was their goal, they failed miserably. Because you could do what the documentary does. You put it all out there and you say, here's this side, here's that side, right? And here's the information in between, right? And then you make the decision of what you want to make. And a lot of people, especially right when it came out, a lot of people in the documentary, that eventually went on to Netflix, the documentary itself, they had, you know, a lot of people that were like, you know, well, it's not completely fair because, most of the documentary is from the standpoint of, Michael, his family, and his defense. And there's very little of, the last episode has an interview with the judge. The sisters were featured prominently. Prosecutors were featured in there a little bit. But what happened at the beginning, so the documentary, this is the original plan, because they are French, so they're French filmmakers. And they wanted a captivating case. They found a great one. But a captivating case where, they can show the full, amount of the judicial system, American judicial system. And that's how it started. Like the first episode was, half and half of the defense and of the prosecution, because initially they were filming both sides. But the prosecution backed out because they said, well, we're scared that, all of these things that we're going to talk about in front of you, that you're going to be recording and watching and listening to, that might get in the hands of the defense. Well, the defense wasn't worried about it because they had a contract in place of, this is what'll happen with this. And then as soon as we're done with the tape, it'll be, sent off to Paris. And, none of it's going to change hands. So they knew, right? They had that plan in place. Prosecution's like, we're not even fucking with that, right? We're not doing this. No. So they backed out. So, you can't blame the filmmakers. They tried, and the prosecution backed out. So now they really only have, really one side, other than the interviews that they had and were able to get with, the sisters and, other family members and, friends. And so they had a lot of interviews in there, but the prosecution backed out. It's not their fault. But I think they did a very good, I think it was very fair documentary. And I read his book, Michael Peterson's book, Behind the Staircase. So he wrote that after he got out of prison. And if you haven't seen the documentary, you should fucking watch it. It's a great documentary. If you haven't read his book, Behind the Staircase, you should read it. All proceeds go to charity. I don't know what charity. I think it's in the book, but I think it shows you, because he doesn't make any money off of it, because any money he makes goes to his wife's daughter. It's a whole thing. I think he's innocent. I don't think he did anything. So, yeah. I don't think I've met anybody else that really talked to anybody that's watched it. I try and get everybody to watch it because it's definitely a very good watch. Like, it's fucking amazing. Oh, all right. I need to go do my yoga. My yoga nogas. Probably watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series while I'm doing yoga. Helps me relax. It's weird. All right. Well, it's been fun. We'll see again. If you want to see what I sound like and see what I look like, you don't have to see what I sound like. You can listen to what I sound like. But if you want to see what I look like, or if you want to, I don't know. Yeah, YouTube, absurdity of color. If you just like the way I sound, you listen to me anywhere you listen to podcasts. Anywhere. You want to be in Aruba? Listen to them, right? You want to listen on Pocket Casts? Highly recommend. You can do that. In Aruba, in America, anywhere you want. But I will see and talk to you guys next Wednesday.